Ram fan, my name is Jeff Garner, and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Cleveland Rams Football with Coach Scott Riley. As always, I'm joined by the head coach of the Cleveland Rams, Mr. Scott Riley. Appreciate you being here again, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get right to it, if you don't mind. Rams had a big week this week, improved to 2-1 overall on the season. It was a dominating 49-0 performance victory on the road at Apex Friendship on Monday night. As we talked last week, this is the first season, the Patriots are competing at the varsity level. You challenged the team this week, Coach. You said, hey, I need your best effort of the season this week, and I think they did just that. What's your initial thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I thought they did a great job. Playing on a Monday, out of the routine, having the long break there after we practiced for all week, and then you have 2-day layoff in between. You always question what kind of effort you're going to get, and are they going to have that same mentality they have when they go out Friday night? But I thought they did that and didn't waste the game and played really well. Absolutely.
I thought the Rams played exceptional in all three phases of the game, but I'll be honest with you, what stood out to me was the play of the defense. Let me throw a few stats at you. The Rams held the Patriots to a grand total of only 106 yards. They were 61 through the air, 45 on the ground. They only completed 5 passes. 9 total first downs. They were 0 for 9 on third downs and 0 for 4 on fourth down. So, and obviously the most important stat of any stat is points. We pitched a shutout. You got to feel good about the defense.
Yeah, they played a lot better, tackled better, played their assignments well. So we were pleased with the defensive effort and kept us out the field quite a bit, which is good on the short week to have some rest for the defensive players.
Absolutely, and one of the things that you've already mentioned, you probably have mentioned it every week so far, and that's the importance of tackling. You've mentioned it, like I said, in numerous weeks. The defense, I think, continues to improve in that area, and I think this was their best week so far. Is there something that do you? I know that's something that you focus on, but are there drills? Are there certain things that you like to do to focus on that sort of that scheme, that tackling scheme?
I think a lot of it's just repetition. We do a tackling circuit every day, and we have certain drills we rotate through there that help us improve. But it's just repetition over and over again. You can't do real tackling until August 6th. So you start August 1st, you got to get conditioned first, and then you hit that first Saturday. So it's still a new concept to a lot of these kids, and those that have done it before, they're out of practice. So you can do a lot of things to prepare to tackle, but you're tackling a dummy versus tackling a real live person. It's a lot different. So I think it's something we'll see improvement upon as we go through the year, as we keep practicing it.
And obviously the game experience. I mean, as good or as strong as practice can be, there's nothing like that real-time game experience. And so I assume as we go along through those games, it's going to get better.
Absolutely.
Okay, as I said, Coach, the Rams excelled in all phases. The offense showed up as well, obviously. 49 points scored, 207 passing, 265 on the ground, total of 472. Talk about the offense a little bit.
Did a great job. I think Friendship did a great job lining up to all the different formations that Coach Capps and the guys put out there. With a young group, that could have been confusing. I thought they did a good job of limiting the big play and making us earn it. And our offense did a good job of getting a defense like that and then actually going out and earning it. So I thought they played well and executed well.
And again,
small chunks down the field.
Yeah, that being it's unusual a little bit. Again, we were in this same boat. We talked about it last week about being a new school, a no varsity squad, young team like Apex Friendship. I do agree. I think they did a fantastic job. Not that I was expecting just an outrageous score by any stretch of the imagination, but and no disrespect to the Patriots, but I really think that the Rams were should have won this game, could have should have, would have, all those kind of things, and that's you can say should have, could have, would have all you want, but I think the Rams showed up. We've been in that situation before, especially after a big loss to Garner. The week before, I thought the Rams showed poise. I thought they came out and took care of business, and I know that's something that again you emphasized all week long.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to playing that Monday. You can have that letdown. I think that first year in 2011, when we ended up winning 11 games, I think 3 of our biggest upsets came on Monday night games where we had a lot of rain that year. And we did a good job of keeping our kids focused. And, we had that long weekend. It kind of overlooked us thinking about the team they're going to play at the end of the week. And we kind of snuck a couple wins in there. So I reminded them of that when we came in Monday, and they did a good job of not looking past them to next week's game.
Do you pull, I'm assuming you do, you've mentioned already, do you pull from, past experience when we were in that situation, and like you said, you give examples, of, hey, this is what happened to us, this is how we did it, this is how teams, worked with us or against us. Do you use that, to your advantage?
Yeah, we try to. I just kept thinking back to when we played Southern Wayne. We're out there warming up, and then a big thunderstorm comes in, lightning strikes a transformer, blows out their scoreboard, and we had to come back Monday and play. And I thought our kids, they had a big conference game the week after on that Friday. I think they overlooked us a bit, and we snuck a big win in there. Allowed us to finish second in the conference that year. So that kept sticking in my mind in particular. But so yeah, you draw on that experience and remind them of this is what happened when you guys were in elementary school, middle school, whatever it was. Yep. But we've been through this before, but so trust us, and they did a great job.
Well, as we do each week, Coach, another big stat that's very important is turnovers. Rams ended up with a +3 in that category. No turnovers for the Rams. We got 3 from the Patriots, 2 interceptions, a fumble recovery. Rams took care of the ball. That's always important. Yeah.
Obviously, we're 2-1. The 2 wins, we were +3 in the turnover department, and the 1 loss, we were -2. So it plays a big factor in the win or loss. And I'm real happy with the defense and their ability to create turnovers this year. We have 8 already. 3 games in, have 8 turnovers is
take that all day long.
Getting it done.
Yes.
Our stated goal every game is to create 3 turnovers, and they've done that except for the Garner game. But you set that goal for every game, and you hope you get to it. But to be consistently towing that line or getting it is pretty good at this point in the year.
I mean, a turnover again just does that. It either stops a drive or it starts a great one for you. So I mean, turnovers are. I think it's almost as important, not as important, but up there with score. Obviously, I mean that'll turn the game quicker than anything. Well, as we do each week, Coach, let's take a look at a few highlights, if you don't mind. I'm gonna pull those up right here. We're going to start on the defensive side of the ball. This is the interception from senior number 7, Tyquan Thorne.
Yeah, Tyquan does a good job here squeezing the slant out of the corner and then sagging off to play the wheel route coming from the inside receiver. Quarterback lets the ball hang there a little bit, which gives him a chance to pick it off. But he does a good job of reading the route combination there, and then getting his hands on the ball and catching. That's the key. We got our hands on the balls a lot last year, and they had a hard time catching the football. But this year, this is his second interception on the season, so they've done a good job. Got to work on his field vision and get one of these to the house, but he did a good job of intercepting.
I was going to say it was a nice return, and again, I agree. A little bit more vision might have took that to the house, as you said. Okay, next one, Coach. We're going to move back over to the offensive side of the ball here. And this is sophomore number 4, Tyson's due touchdown. One of his touchdowns has had three in the game. This is one of them.
Yeah, Tyson did a great job running the ball Monday for us, and O-line obviously pays a pretty easy road to the end zone, but he does a good job of lowering his shoulder and finishing the job and getting in instead of ending up on the 1-yard line. But does a good job getting around that guy there and lowers his shoulder, gets in the end zone. But yeah, great performance out of Tyson all night long.
Absolutely. This one was interesting, Coach. I got to pull it up. A little trickeration by Coach Scott Riley here on the extra point try.
Yeah, it's something that the other teams have to work on quite a bit, just lining up to it. And we snapped the ball over there to Nathan Coward, who's our middle linebacker. If we were an I, he went to Garner High School, he'd be their fullback, and he'd be a good fullback.
Yes, he would.
He's hard to take down, and he does a good job of getting the ball through there.
Yeah, I definitely caught him off guard. Nice, strong run by Coward again, and that's fullback tendencies right there if I've ever seen them.
Yep.
Okay, back on the offense again, Coach. This is a nice pass and catch from touchdown from Norman to senior wide receiver number 14, Jacob Scott.
Yeah, incredible catch on the screen pass. The screen passes are kind of hard to throw sometimes with the pressure you're going to get. And sails a little high. there's a lot of bravery going up high when you're running back into a crowd like that.
Yes.
He does it, catches it with his fingertips, and then is able to maneuver through those blocks and set them up well to get in the end zone. But an incredible catch. I don't know if the clip does it justice of how much full extension he had to get up there to get that one.
Yeah, he did get up, and again following it with a nice run into the end zone. So yeah, absolutely great play. Finally, Coach, we go back to the defensive side, and this is the second interception for our defense. This time from junior cornerback number 10, Lorenzo Torres.
Yeah, Lorenzo is supposed to stay on top of the route here, which he does a great job of. And he's there. We have people underneath the route, which is usually where you get interception on a flood concept like this from the offense. But he does a good job of staying on top of that, just in case it does get through those underneath defenders, and the quarterback sails the ball high, and he's there able to jump on the opportunity. But a good job of staying where he's supposed to. If he jumps the route, that could go the other way for a touchdown. So he did a good job of being where he's supposed to. When the quarterback overthrows his man, he's there to jump on it, and he gets a good return down the sideline.
Took a nice pop there on the sideline too, held on the ball, and a lot of blocking up front too is another thing I noticed on after the catch.
Yeah, our guys take pride in this. They want to score on defense, and hopefully sooner or later we'll get one in the end zone.
Absolutely. All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate that. This is always my favorite part of the show. Your Player of the Week awards. Who you got for me?
Offensive Player of the Week goes to Tyson Dew. I think he had about 115 yards and 3 touchdowns on only 10 carries. So he made very productive day of it with limited carries, because it was a running clock in the second half, so we didn't get a lot of offense production. But he did a great job with the opportunities he had.
I thought he did fantastic. Again, he was picking everybody up on the sideline as well. They were picking him up. I mean, everybody was into the game. That's one of the things I noticed too. And again, a lot of congratulatory comments for him coming off the field. Yeah,
he did a great job. The Defensive Player of the Week goes to Tevin Sanders. There's a lot to choose from with the defense effort.
Absolutely. This has got to be a tough choice.
Yeah, but he had a great job containing all those run plays. Nothing could bounce, and clogged everything up, and did a great job. We had a couple tackles for loss in the backfield when he was blitzing, and applied some pressure as well in the passing game. So he did a good job for us. The trench Player of the Week, the O-line or D-lineman had the best game, goes to Noah Barnes.
Good.
So he did a good job of clogging up there on that first interception. He applies a lot of pressure to that quarterback the quarterback, if you watch that clip again, he's laying on the ground.
Yes.
Noah got a good shot in there before he released the ball, which made it sail and got us the interception. So he had a great game for us as well.
That pressure, again, an interception, I won't say never, but rarely is a one-player kind of thing. Again, it's the pressure up front, forcing the quarterback to move side to side or throw it late or high or whatever, and Noah did a great job with that.
He did, yep. And the Special Teams Player of the Week goes to Jonathan Kistner. Played linebacker. He was in the running for the Defensive Player of the Week award too. He ran down, got 2 big tackles on kickoff. It was one of the phases I thought we struggled a little bit with kickoff early, and we went back to our more trusted pooch kick, and he came down there and made 2 big tackles in the open field, which is something he's really been working on, and it showed.
I saw him popping a lot of people. I mean, it appears to me he takes a lot of pride in those hits and making those tackles, and again he just seems to love it.
Yeah, and it's something he hasn't been always good at.
Yeah.
And as a freshman, it was probably his biggest weakness was tackling, and now it's one of his best strengths.
Wow.
So
Awesome.
It really speaks to his work ethic, and where he's improved at. And the Scout Team Player of the Week goes to Caden Norman. We really wanted to practice an up-tempo pace, and he was screaming and yelling at the O-linemen all week when they were scouting to get there lined up. They probably hated his guts by the end of the week. But I thought he did a good job of pushing the tempo for us. Because one thing I thought we lacked with Garner was getting lined up quickly when they started going up tempo. So we try to fix that, and he did a good job of helping us fix it.
I agree with that. I mean, I heard you yelling on the sideline again. I don't want to go back weeks before, but I heard you yelling on the sideline of that Garner game. Let's go. Yeah,
and so we got to practice it for a week to kind of to get that going. And he did a good job of getting the guys lined up fast out of the huddle, because it's a little different when you're scouting. They got to look at a notebook, what plays to run. But when they came out of the huddle, they ran to the line. They snapped the ball quickly. And our offense, Monday or Tuesday, our defense was kind of at a sink, but by the end of the week we got where we needed to be. So that's something we'll keep doing as the year goes on. But he did a good job with the scout team this week for us. And then our program player of the week, actually now that we're in school, we're starting to get emails from the teachers and things, and you hear some good things, you hear some bad things. More good things. I actually had a list of kids to choose from for the good things, which is good. I chose Landon Clifton this week to be our player of the week.
Great.
There was a teacher that was during lunch was directing a student that he couldn't go to a certain part of the building, and the student was getting very rude and disrespectful towards the teacher, and Landon walked up and said, "Excuse me, sir, that's not how we speak to teachers at Cleveland High." And you know, if you don't know Landon, he's 6'4".
I was going to say
330 something
yes,
pounds.
sir.
And this is a little freshman, 5'5", acting kind of like a punk. And you know, the senior steps in and says, "That's not how we act here." That probably has a big effect on him and his behavior going forward. And so that teacher emailed me and just how much she appreciated someone to say something, because a lot of kids would just walk by and let the kid get in trouble, but he kind of fixed that himself, and that's the kind of men we want to build.
Fantastic. That's awesome. That's a great story.
One of those good stories you like to hear. And there were several other good stories. And, if I don't get any good stories this year, we'll save them.
We'll save them.
But hopefully we'll get some more good reports. And
I see. I don't. Maybe it's just me, but I noticed Landon. I see him on the sideline, like at the JV games and stuff like that. You know, with the varsity players out there. I mean, he does seem to take a lot of time with the younger guys. I mean, I seem to notice that. I'm not saying the others don't, but I do see him, hanging around the younger guys. Whether it be just throwing the ball or joking around or whatever. But he does seem to have that mentor, fatherly kind of attitude sometimes with some of these guys.
Yeah, being one of the few seniors on the O-line. We had 2 seniors on the O-line, but he does a good job of leading that group. And, telling them what they need to be doing.
Great. Well, awesome. That's a great story, Coach. Well, before we look ahead to the next week's game, Coach, I got a special segment for the Ram fam. You're very fortunate to have an exceptional assistant coaching staff here. I know them well, and I had the opportunity to actually talk and interview one of those, and that was your offensive coordinator, Mr. Joe Capps. Before we take a look at that, in your opinion, what does Coach Capps bring to the table?
He's incredibly prepared. Does a great job of planning each week and getting our kids in good position and really taking advantage of all the skill sets that the kids have. But incredibly prepared and well thought out in whatever he's going to put on the field.
I agree. I mean, and again, it appears to me, not that the rest of them don't, because they all do. It's a talent and a skill that they all have. But he seems to take a lot of time explaining, a lot of time, again, talking to the players. It's not just a do this, do that, get lined up here, whatever. He's explaining it. He's telling them why. It's a lot of why behind it instead of just do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a big thing, and getting the kids to do what you want, they have to know why they're doing it. So if you want them to run this route a yard wider this week, they tend to remember it more. If you run it a yard wider, that's going to draw the safety away from this guy, and it's going to give him a touchdown, or it's going to draw the corner away from you and you can get a touchdown. So they know that. They tend to remember more what to do. So the why helps with the what.
Absolutely.
He does a good job with that.
Well, like I said, I had a chance to talk to him, Coach. Ram fam, take a look at that right now. Hello, Ram fam. Jeff Garner here again. I'm here with assistant coach Joe Capps. Joe, I've already talked to Coach Riley. He's had nothing but good things to say about you. I tried my best to get him to say something bad, and he just wouldn't do it. I didn't have enough money on me or something. I don't know. But anyway, we have these segments on the coaches show. A lot of people have asked, "Hey, I want to get to know the coaches a little better." We're going to interview players. We've been doing that. But wanted to bring some coaches in, wanted to bring you in. Appreciate you being here today. Thanks a lot. Just tell us childhood. Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I grew up in Harney County, just down the road in Anger. And growing up, I like to say I give a lot of credit to my parents. They're very supportive parents, and think they get a lot of credit for any success I've had. But I just grew up, love playing ball, love playing any sport I could participate in, and I went to Harnett Central High School and then had a chance to go to UNC and get my degree.
Awesome. And athlete, again, you mentioned Harnett Central, athlete in school, college school, high school, what'd you play?
Yeah, I played football and baseball in high school, and didn't have an opportunity. College was pretty good at intramurals, but that was about it.
Tell me about it. Yeah, I could play a lot of intramurals. Yeah.
Football and baseball.
Yeah. Well, growing up, I mean, what's your dream job? Tell me, what were you looking to do growing up in Harnett County?
Well, going to UNC, I was thinking pre-med. I majored in biology and religious studies and continued that degree, but just realized that my passion was not in medicine, but it was working with youth, and teaching and coaching just became a natural fit, and so I'm glad I'm doing that now.
Well, I would agree with that. I already mentioned to Coach in this show. As a matter of fact, I mentioned to him that again, not just you, but I see it across the board with the rest of the coaches. I mean, you guys take a lot of time with these players. It's not just a X's and O's thing with you guys. That's one of the things I've really noticed especially about you. I mean, you take a lot of time with the players. Again, it's not a go here, go there thing, but it's a why. Why are you doing this, and how can it help you? And not just a game of football. I'm seeing it across the board. So I agree. I think you do a great job with the youth. Tell me about what brought you to coaching. Why coach?
Well, I think coaching gives you a lot of influence. Even beyond the classroom. I do enjoy that part as well, but it gives you just more access to their lives, more time around the young people, and like I said, gives you more influence. I think every teacher, coach is going to make a difference one way or the other, and my goal is to make a positive influence, and coaching just gives me more opportunity to do that. Well,
you've certainly done a great job here at Cleveland, and we're glad to have you. Where else have you coached before here, and what brought you to Cleveland?
Yeah, I was able to start at Harness Central, and enjoyed some good years there, and then I've been at Cleveland here for 6 years since it opened. But yeah, that was a tough transition. Like I said, we had a good program at the time.
Absolutely.
And a lot of success. It had things going the way we wanted it to, but the opportunity presented itself for me and my family. We were expecting our second child and looking for ways for my wife to be able to stay home and be with the children a little bit more, and this opportunity provided that for us, and so we were excited to make that move.
Other sports besides football that you've worked in, or football the passion, or
football, and then also track here at Cleveland High School.
Right. Well, we've got as you know, Coach, I mean, I've been here through these times as well. We've got a real passionate fan base here, at Cleveland. We've been very fortunate to have the level of success that we've had here, and few can equal kind of what Cleveland has done in the short time they've been here. But what do you attribute that level of success to?
Yeah, I think two things come to mind. Number one is just the vision when we started here, and I give a lot of credit to Coach Mark Morris, who came, and several assistants came with him. He had a vision for what the program should look like, and so I just want to give him a lot of credit. Coach Riley, the head coach now, and I both worked with Coach Morris for about 10 years, I think, before he moved on. But so I think he does deserve a lot of credit for our foundation here. And then secondly, you got to give credit to the kids. I mean, the kids have bought in, they've trusted what that vision was, and they've worked hard, and they've hit the ground running from day one in the weight room. And like I said, just trusting what we were asking them to do, and I think the kids get a lot of credit for every win we've been a part of.
Well, I would agree with that, but again, I think it's got to have the leadership, and the trustworthiness I think that you guys come across with for them to buy into those kind of things. But you're right. I mean, we've had some fantastic kids come through here and continue to. Again, speaking of the fan base and speaking of coaching, we've got our naysayers too. There's always some naysayers out there. How do you handle that? Any kind of criticism that we get, kind of thing, just from a coach in general?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't really have time to think about it or hear it. I'm sure it's there. I mean, I'm a fan as well, and when you watch, it's just a lot different. But yeah, I just don't internalize anything. I think I'm probably my own harshest critic, and as a coach, when I make a mistake, I usually just apologize to the players and tell them I've made a commitment to be better, and we always ask them to do the same thing. But yeah, just move on. You play another game.
Move on, and that's the mentality across the board here, and I think that's what pays off. I mean, you can't linger on a loss or a win. You can't linger on a mistake or whatever. You got to move forward, and I think you guys do a great job of instilling that in the players, the rest of the coaches, everything. And you guys take, again, Coach Riley has done it several times. I mean, he takes responsibility. If he's done something wrong or feels like he's made a mistake, he takes responsibility for it. I know you guys do the same thing.
Absolutely.
So again, you've already mentioned family and that kind of thing. You're a teacher here at Cleveland as well, and just juggling teaching and coaching. I mean, just the hours that you have to put in, with football. How do you handle those? Juggle those things.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably one of the greatest struggles for any husband, father, working man that's trying to do both. But I mean, it certainly is difficult. I thank my family a lot for all the sacrifices they make. But yeah, I mean, that's just something you have to work really hard at. It's very difficult. I view my classroom and my coaching as part of my ministry, but at the same time, I think my family is probably my priority, and so you have to. You have to make sacrifices both places, but and have to make everything a priority. And I don't know if I'm good at it, but it's certainly something I think a lot about and work towards. And I guess you just end up not sleeping a whole lot.
Again, this week is a prime example of that. Where I already mentioned with Coach Riley is, the routine this week is non-routine. I'd love to get back into that routine kind of thing, but again, that routine takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, a lot of hours. Again, a lot of time from your personal life, a lot of time from being at home. So it's got to be difficult. But again, everybody seems to do a great job here, and you're one of them. So, again, we've talked about it a little bit. You seem to have a real connection. At least this is my what I've seen. You really do seem to have a real connection with your players. With your quarterbacks, your skill players, but all of them. I think they look up to you. But again, I see them listening to you. They're not just saying, "Oh, that's Coach Cap's running his mouth." I mean, they really seem to listen to you. Really got a connection with you. What do you attribute that to?
Well, life's about relationships. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. And so I think first off, you got to be very genuine as a person. You got to be who you are. But we just try to build relationships, and a lot of that is through coaching, and a lot of it through what they go through off the field. But I just try to be mindful of everything I'm saying and doing that'll help them be the best possible person they can be. And part of that is as a player, helping them to accomplish what they want to on the field, but at the same time, there's a lot more life to be had outside of 4 years of high school football. So.
Well, speaking of that too, though, I mean, another example of how well you do with these players is I see them coming back. I mean, you've got prior players on your coaching staff already. I see them at the ball games on Friday night. I mean, I see them coming up and talking to you. So I mean, just them coming back, and having, like I said, relationships. Absolutely. We're not just talking football. We're talking relationships that go a lot farther than outside that 100 yards out there. So again, I just think that's another prime example of how well you guys are connecting with these players and especially how you're doing it. So let me one quick question before we go. Youth football. We've already talked about youth football a little bit. Parents, there's a lot of stuff out there, concussions and injuries and that kind of thing. A lot of discussion about should my son or daughter play youth football. What is your thought from a coaching standpoint? You've been in it, you've seen it, you've played. What is your thoughts? What would you tell a parent that says, should my son come play football?
Yeah, it's certainly a decision each family will have to make, and a lot of it's dependent on the desires and passions of their son and what he wants to do. But I do think it's a game I promote. I think there's a lot more good that comes from it than some of the concerns, and I think it starts with just the lessons that football can help develop and culture within a player. I mean, if you think about our culture, there really aren't a lot of opportunities for young men now to learn lessons of hard work and sacrifice and just playing for something or living for something greater than yourself. And football provides that in a very tangible way. It's a tough game. You have to make sacrifices, and it's all about a team and not just individual accomplishments. So, like I said, I think it's a great game. I think many of our players would say they're better for playing it, and as you mentioned, when the players come back and you get to see them years down the road and see what kind of husbands and fathers they become, that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
If football allows us to make a difference that way, then it's a great game.
There's a lot of things being taught out on that field that's not X's and O's.
Right.
Absolutely. Well, one final question, Coach. I know you're busy. I know we actually got to get here to practice shortly. One final question. Again, we've had a lot of success here at Cleveland. A lot of wins. But how do you define success? A successful athletic program here at Cleveland.
Yeah, well, I think we've hit on it when those players come back. And my greatest joy, and I do enjoy the wins, we've had some big ones, but when you finish a game and you go down to our family huddle afterwards and you see players you didn't expect to see, and former players come back and they're there just to see you or say hi, and that's the greatest joy, and I think that speaks a lot about our program.
Absolutely. All right. I hope you enjoyed that, Ram fam. Now, Coach, let's look ahead to Week 4. The Rams are home this week against what might be their biggest rival. If not their biggest rival, it's definitely top 1 or 2, and that's West Johnston. West actually comes in undefeated. They're 2-0. They had wins at home. The first one was against Triple S, and then they had a win on the road at South Johnston. What are your thoughts heading into this week?
Yeah, it's the biggest non-conference game we have this year, biggest rival we have, and when they join our conference next year, it'll be
just even bigger.
Add to the importance of the game. But yeah, obviously it's big for our community. 6-7 years ago when Cleveland split off, mostly from West Johnston, we got a few students from Clayton, but mostly from there. This game's always taken on a big importance to our kids, and a lot of our players played with them in middle school or played against them in middle school. So
they go to church with each other. They see each other uptown. It's right.
And the school's 3.5 miles away. It's not a big difference, and so that's why it's such an important game for the community and for these players.
Well, the Wildcats and the Rams are on kind of two different ends of the spectrum this week. The Wildcats have, they have had a week off to prepare, and the Rams are actually on a bit of a short week, as we already talked about after our game against Friendship was pushed to Monday night. How has that affected, preparation this week so far?
Well, it's made me a little tired. Have to put a little extra work this week just to get ready for the game. Hopefully, it won't affect the players very much. They're young; they can rebound fairly quickly.
I just know you love routine. I know coaches love routine, and you kind of get out of that a little bit. Sometimes that might be, I won't say good or good, but from what I've seen so far, they seem to be handling it well.
Yeah, they have. Yesterday, first practice back after the game, I thought they did an amazing job. You wouldn't have known they played a game the night before, so I've been pleased so far. Hopefully that continues this week, and we'll see on Friday night. But yeah, we like routine, but this has been the year without routine.
So far,
school started a little bit later. Season started a little bit earlier, so we had 2 games before we were in school. Last week was supposed to be our first normal week, and then we get a tropical storm that comes through. We don't play on Friday. Now we have 2 games in a week for this week, so it'll be hopefully the Terry Sanford week will have a routine where we just stay in school, practice, and then play at the end of the week.
The routine is non-routine. That's the routine now.
So far it is.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll change it.
What can we expect from Coach Williams and the Wildcats this Friday night from offensive defense? We've played them a lot already. I'm not this year, but I mean we've known each other for years. Tell us about what we can expect from both sides of the ball from the Wildcats.
Very similar team to last year. We return a lot of players from last year's team. They're very experienced. So we go from a team with no seniors in Friendship to a team that has, I think, 21 of their 22 starters are seniors. So they have 1 junior that starts. So that's a lot of experience.
Absolutely.
They do have some players that play both ways. So some of those guys are the same people, but they have a very experienced team. They're going to play physical football on both offense and defensive side of the ball. So that's what we have to be prepared for.
All right. Well, fans, there you have it. It's going to be a big one. You need to be there. You do not want to miss this one. This Friday night, September the 9th, Rams take on crosstown rival West Johnston. It's home. It's at Rams Field. Kickoff this week is 7:30, Coach.
Yes, sir. 7:30.
And again, I've already seen a lot of discussion on social media about this game. The fans are into it. The faculty. This is, again, as you said, this is a community ball game, a community rivalry. So you do not want to miss this one. You need to be there. We need to have them in the house, do we not, Coach?
Absolutely. And I'd come early. Usually the West Johnston game over here takes a while to get everybody through the door, so don't miss the opening kickoff waiting in line. So
absolutely.
Get here early.
And just a FYI, the N&O has picked it as the game of the week. Again, doesn't surprise me. Again, I think it's a smart choice there, but again, it just shows that how important these two schools feel about one another, how great a rivalry it is. Again, Ram fan, we need you in the play, so need you to be there. Again, kickoff 7:30 Friday night right here at Rams Field. As always, we'll be here next week. We'll be talking about that game. We'll be talking about our upcoming opponent, and that's the Bulldogs of Terry Sanford. Like I said, maybe we'll get back to a normal routine. Who knows? Maybe we need to stay on this routine. You know how that goes. So
I hope not.
Well, anyway, Coach, thanks for your time this week. Any final comments for us?
No, sir. Ready to go get back at it?
Well, good luck. We'll be there. Ram fan will be there, and let's hope we can move to 3-1 and keep this ball rolling. Ram fam, thanks a lot. Appreciate you being here, and we'll see you again next week.